Welcome to Simmons Says, where I help emerging and struggling writers create intriguing plots and compelling characters to make their stories hard to put down and even harder to forget. Hi, Alex Simmons here. Saturdays in May this year, I'm going to be doing a May Day Manuscript Day, which is literally a Facebook Live at noon Eastern Standard Time every Saturday in the month of May. And it's really going to be my opportunity to get online and answer your questions about creative writing, the good, the bad, the struggles, the wins, all of that. So, what you're going to see right now is a clip from May 2nd, the first day that I did May Day Manuscript. Take a listen and take some notes. The first question here I have on here is, how do I turn a vague idea into a full story? Okay. I tend to say to my students and my clients that the job of an idea is to be an idea, period. That's its job. Once it's done that, you can't expect anything more from it. I know sometimes we judge our ideas. We go, oh, that's stupid, or nobody will go for that, or that's probably going to be too complicated, or it doesn't have enough this or enough that. No, it's an idea, literally an idea. An old wood carver suddenly creates a character, a puppet character, carves it out of wood and leaves it alone in the night as he goes off to bed to get some sleep. And he's poor and he's hungry, and so he's just going to try and go to sleep and get some rest and hope that the next day will be better. And then maybe an insect becomes the conscious of this puppet, and through magic, the puppet comes alive. And no, nobody would ever go for that. No, actually, what's the story about? What are the characters like? What am I trying to say? What do I think it's going to look like as it develops? These are the things you do in nurturing your idea. But the idea has already done its job. It's landed in your hands, in your head, on paper. Maybe it's scribbles, a couple of words here or there. That's it. It's the idea. What do you do with it then? It's a seed. You plant the seed, you water it, you nurture it, it grows into whatever. So the first thing you do is you explore the idea. What does it say? What's it about? What kind of visions or imagery is coming to your mind as you look at that idea? What does it look like? What kind of world are we talking about? What kind of setting, backdrop, what time in history? Okay? Then what's the theme you're trying to explore, or what's the lesson you're trying to reveal? What's the thing you want us as readers or as viewers of a film, what is it you want us to discover? What do you think that is? It's not concrete. It's what do you think that is? Jot that down. And then you look at, okay, what kind of characters am I seeing here? What's their personality like? What do they look like? Where's it happening? Where do they live? What do they do? Jot some of those ideas down. And I'm going to come back to characters in a moment. Then, okay, I have some vague idea of what this is and that is. Where do I think I want to start this story? How do I want to start it? What does that look like? Is it going to be calm and peaceful? Am I going to drop us right in the middle of some sort of a tremendous, event or moment or action? Right? Okay, where am I going to go with that? And how do I think it might end? What am I thinking? Okay, well, it could end like this, it could end like that. I just jot that down. Right. Now, I keep saying jot or like sort of put down some notes because that's the next step. You don't theoretically go from idea to instant manuscript. Some of my students, whatever their ages, wherever they come from, and I've worked with people from the United States, but I also worked with a lot of students from different countries. I teach screenwriting to a lot of people from different countries. I have gone to speak in other countries. I've done virtual workshops and webinars to, again, participants in other countries. It's a universal language. Storytelling is a universal language, and we all, as writers and creatives, experience some of the same things, some of the same hangups, the same steps, the same loops and hoops that we have to jump through. So you have the idea. Now you're nurturing, you're playing with the idea, you're exploring the idea, and you make notes. You don't have to have it all worked out. You're making notes. How do I think this will look? What do I think this character's like? What if, which is a great question. What if I do this? What if they do that? What if they say this? What if it ends like that? What if? You're making this up. Even if you're basing it on some event from history or from your life experience, you are now going to tell it in a way that it's going to engage an audience, entertain an audience, move an audience. So you've got to map it out so that it hits certain moments at certain specific times within the storytelling, so that it starts here and begins to rise towards a climax, delivers that climax, delivers that final resolution to the challenge, and then ends in a satisfying way. It doesn't all just flood out of you. Sometimes it does, but more often than not, it's going to require you to map it out a bit first, maybe in bullet points, maybe writing a more detailed outline if that works for you. But give yourself the grace and give yourself the area, the space to play with the ideas, to make the notes, to organize the notes, and begin to look at how it might fit together so that you can finally start writing it. That's what you do. That's how you take a vague idea and begin to turn it into a full story. Turning it into a full story requires that you write it from beginning to end. Whether you're in love with it by the end of that experience or you think it's the worst thing that's ever been placed on paper or on a screen, that's something else that we can talk about another time. But to get it from idea to full story, all of those steps, and then write it from beginning to end. Complete that. That's your job. Okay, I hope you found some of that useful. And if you have questions that you want to ask about writing, please drop them in the comments section or email me at the email below. Take care.